You are currently listening to the FiFine AM8 microphone. It is connected via XLR, and I have the XLR going into my audio interface, which is then being recorded into the computer, and that is what you're hearing, raw processing, with maybe a little adjustment for the actual decibels to make sure the video level is appropriate for a YouTube video. And yeah, it actually sounds pretty decent. This mic is basically $50 brand new. It's not perfect. For what you do get for $50, it's pretty hard to beat, honestly. Now, my go-to mic is a Shure SM7B, this guy. I've had this for years, actually. This guy has cut records with me, recorded toms, vocals, bass amps, and then streamed tons of hours. So this is a workhorse, and it has not failed on me yet. So that's a testament to the Shure products. And at $450, it better be a quality microphone. Is it 10 times the quality better, though, than this microphone that I'm speaking into at the moment? And that's something that you're going to have to decide for yourself. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you're probably curious about just getting into something that's going to sound decent. And I think this mic actually is pretty decent. Now, there is two modes to operate this mic. You can go through USB-C, which I'm not using at the moment, which then provides basically an audio interface that goes directly in the computer. It bypasses the need for a preamp. And if you don't know why you'd use a preamp, it's because the signal from a microphone has to be brought up to line level to then properly get captured for an audio interface. In the professional audio world, that's typically several devices, and this mic is wrapping all those into one if you use the USB-C cable. Now you're listening to the AM8 through the USB-C connection. There is a preamp, there's an audio interface, everything all bundled up into one microphone right here. As you can see, the XLR cable is disconnected right here. And yeah, what do you think? How is the changes to the audio quality? Or maybe you don't really hear much of a difference at all, which is totally fine as well. I will try my absolute best to audio match these levels, because there's a thing that happens with people's perception where if something is just louder, 9 times out of 10 you'll think it just sounds better when it's louder. It's one of the issues with audio production where you keep on creeping up the volume knob and thinking, this sounds better, and it's just louder. When it is in USB mode, one of the nice features is you do have the ability to mute the mic right on the side, and I can see there's a green light right now. If I tap it, it went red, and I talked and you couldn't hear me because the mic was muted. So it's a nice handy feature when you're either gaming or streaming or anything like that. And then the opposite side, you do have a mic level and a headphone level, because there is a headphone output on the bottom right here that you can plug into if you wanted. But chances are you're probably going to route your audio to like a pair of headphones or something like that that's separate from the microphone. And now you're listening to Old Reliable, the SM7B, the ubiquitous broadcasting microphone and vocal mic and studio production mic and all that stuff. One thing I forgot to mention about this AM8 mic specifically is that the way you face it is directly on the top. So you might be thinking, do you talk directly into right here? No, you do not. The capsule is right here essentially, so you talk directly into the mic like so, like I'm doing to the SM7B here, and that is how you get the audio coming into this microphone. So now you can hear what a close to $1,000 setup sounds like with this microphone. Now, another thing absolutely worth mentioning is build quality. Between the two, the SM7B is obviously going to be higher quality, made of metal and all that, and also probably going to last longer. Now, not to say that the AM8 can't last a decent amount of time, but my gut instinct is this will not take a beating. But at $50, you could probably buy a few of these and not worry about it. But if you're looking for a mic that is going to last you a decade plus, SM7B. Will the AM8 last a decade? I do not know. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe it would. So naturally, I have a nice audio interface and preamp, and that's what I would choose to use with something like this. It is a Mackie Creator DLZ XS, and the preamps have 80 decibels of gain, I believe, which is plenty of juice for something like the SM7B, which typically requires about 60 for proper voiceover, radio type of stuff. I'm giving the AM8 also 60 decibels inside the preamps on the Creator XS for what you're hearing right now, going through the XLR cable. Now you should know that the XLR cable will not give you any of the additional features. For instance, if I try to mute the mic, it's not going to mute because it's going through the XLR. And also, if you want the RGB to work, you do have to plug in the USB-C cable. So if you just plug in an XLR cable and that's it, you're only going to get the direct mic out and no convenience features like being able to mute the mic or just volume levels and stuff like that. Because again, if you use the USB-C features, you're also getting an audio interface, preamp, converters, essentially all that stuff. And they're going to be okay. They'll get the job done, but there is better options out there. Now, like I said in the beginning, this mic is not perfect. And one of the big problems that I have is it's very resonant. So when I tap the frame that's holding the mic, you're going to hear a ringing tone. Hear that? Now, I am giving it a decent tap, so I typically wouldn't do that with mics in general. But what I did find interesting is how much of a ring you get from just tapping that right there. So there is definitely a resonance that's coming through in the microphone that seems to be prone to like the housing and the makeup right here. I can also tap this so you can have a comparison on the resonance. So obviously there's still a little bit of tap right there, but what you notice is there's no actual resonance that's coming through. Like the whole mic isn't suddenly resonating at a tone because it's been tapped by something. So honestly, that really is my biggest criticism about this AM8. So again, it's a $50 microphone. I noticed it actually when I unboxed the AM8 and pulled out this guy and attached it to the bottom. And as soon as I plugged it in, I was like, what am I hearing? It's ringing so much. And just sitting on the desk with this translated a ton of vibrations into the microphone. So I was really hoping that this would be useful for an actual desk setup. And I found that this plate alone attached to the microphone sitting on the desk was just resonating by itself. That alone is a bit of a turnoff because this is almost useless in my opinion. In order to mitigate stuff like this, you need to have some sort of dampening mechanism in there to try to absorb some of those frequencies, and they just don't seem to be in there, unfortunately. Oh hey, it's compatible with the PS5 as well. Didn't realize that. So, in my opinion, if you need a microphone that's going to get the job done and not spend a bunch of money, this AM8 will do the job. And it has room to grow as well. Because technically, you could start out just plugging in via USB-C, and as you graduate down the road and pick up something like a Rodecaster or like I'm using a Mackie DLZ Creator, then you can use quality preamps and get the most out of the microphone, assuming you have some sort of setup that prevents some of the ringing that's happening. Now, to put it in perspective, this Shure SM7B is roughly $450 or so new. The Mackie DLZ Creator XS runs for roughly $400 to $500 as well. So for a setup that I would consider high-ish quality, you're looking at close to $1,000 with tax and all that. Whereas the AM8 will get you started for $50, and then you could start upgrading down the road. Because obviously you don't need an SM7B to get started, and you definitely don't need a $400 audio interface to get started either. So in other words, don't let the gear get in the way. You have options like the AM8 available. Use those options if you want to start recording things and get into content creation, because we're in a bit of a golden age right now for products that used to cost a lot of money and now are pretty affordable, all things considered. If you're interested in this microphone, I will have affiliate links below. And if you do purchase through those links, I get a cut at no additional cost to you. So thank you very much if you do use my affiliate links. Thank you very much, FiFine, for sending over the mic to check out. I do appreciate that. And yeah, that's the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time for another one. Peace.